Hey there, welcome back to Wherever. I'll be your host, Matt McMuscles, and you're watching What Happened. And, new computer means new content or a return to form, and it's time to react to the new Emblem hero. I think Emblem Marth changed the game maybe more than any single mechanic has in the last 2, 3, 5 years of Fire Emblem Heroes, so I'm very excited to see who the next one is and what they bring to the game. We're going to see if Marth was the exception to the rule, or if, like IS so often does, the second version of a new mechanic is like the truly game-breaking, insane one that makes the first one look like child's play. I kind of think I got spoiled by the thumbnail already, so we're just going to go in and see who this new hero is, and let's pretend like we're surprised. Wait a second, I recognize that song. Oh, okay, wait, he actually looks really cool. The blue fire on Ike is so sick. I mean, I guess it's just like the emblem aura, but it also looks like the blue flame that the game is actually named after in Japanese. That's what the radiance and Path of Radiance refers to, the blue flame. Alright, we got Emblem Ragnell, we got Great Ether, we got Def Res Finish 4, we got Lagu's Friend 4, which looks inheritable, we got an emblem effect, and okay, so we're just gonna have to... Look, there's only the one unit on this banner, we're just gonna look at all this stuff right now. So, Emblem Ragnell, Slaying DC, shocker. Who could have guessed a Ragnell would have that in 2024? Start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, attack plus X unit and minus X on foe, which is a quarter of foe's attack at start of combat minus 2, max of 16. I feel like we've seen conditions like this before, but I'm pretty sure this one is more lenient. I think it usually gets like minus 6 or something. So basically, if they have 60 attack, it's going to be 15 minus 2 is 13. So that's, in most cases, going to get like between 11 and 14 attack and attack debuff, which is pretty good. And neutralizes penalties on unit. Interesting. No unity here. Kind of the opposite of Fallen Ike, which is interesting. That's an interesting way to do it. And then we got anti-guard. We have half tempo. Okay, cool. Great Ether has 22 effects. That's pretty cool. So, when special triggers, boost damage by percentage of unit's attack equals number of times foe has attacked during this combat times 10 plus 40. So this sort of is like a counter to Potent and Brave Weapon. So I guess this caps out at like theoretically 90% of attack with a Brave Weapon running Potent or getting a Potent follow-up attack in some way, but more often will be like 60, 80 on a like Brave Desperation user. That's interesting. Okay, so if unit initiates combat, foe can counterattack before unit's first attack. Foe can perform a follow-up attack. Foe can make a follow-up attack before unit's next attack during combat. So they basically get Forced Desperation on him, just like Brave Ike. I think I'm reading that right. Which I assume is set up to get him charged up for his Great Ether of Retaliation. Basically, gives him all their attacks first, then he Great Ethers them for the maximum amount of damage, which in some cases will be like 1.6x attack. In some cases will be like 1.9x, which is kind of crazy. We also get reduces damage per attack by percentage equals 40 minus current special cooldown value times 10 during combat. But if unit receives consecutive attacks, reduces damage from foe's second attack onward by percentage equals 70 minus current special cooldown count value times 10. So I guess that's like dynamic. As the special charges, damage is reduced by more. So first attack it's 10 and it goes up to much more? That's unusual. I hope I'm reading that right. And then, if the special trigger during combat deals 5 damage to foes within 3 rows or 3 columns centered on unit, inflicts pulse smoke on those foes also, and restores XP unit for combat. The number of foes times 5 plus 10 up to half of the total HP. So it's basically like Great Ether from the game, or from Engage, but only 5 damage. So it's like a Savage Blow effect, but I think that's dual phase, which is interesting. Another unit with Def Res Finish. I really feel like that skill should be on more things. There's like definitely some units that want it. We got Canto Control. Rare to see a 240 SP skill these days, but actually a really valuable one to have. Kind of gives some flexibility. This unit reeks of coming with like Def Res Pledge or like Attack Defense Pledge though, so that's a little bit weird, but you know, Canto Control, not bad to have. And we have Lagu's Friend 4, which is a really interesting name and very fitting for Ike. Kind of weird to be on Emblem Ike, though, since that doesn't necessarily come up and engage, but we'll accept it. We will accept that. So, inflict attack -5 on foe during combat. Cool. I feel like attack debuff, like Super Daunt, is sort of better than DR at this point, so that's cool. However, there's DR here, so what am I even saying? If units' max special cooldown count is greater than or equal to 3, and units' attack can trigger unit special, or foe's attack can trigger unit special. So this is if you have an offensive special or a defensive special. This is pretty much anything that isn't Gale Force or like Requiem Dance, if I'm understanding correctly. Like specials that trigger outside of combat. Oh, I guess like an AoE would also not work. Reduces the percentage of units non-special. Reduce damage by X%, skills by 50%. Reduces damage from foes' attacks by 20% of the greater of units' defense or res. And grants special cooldown count -2 to unit before foe's first attack during combat. That's really interesting, actually. That's kind of like... That's like a hardy fighter effect that actually works, like before... If this was on air defense, that would actually give them like a charged Pavis on turn 0, like before the first enemy phase. For like an air defense unit. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't... Your turn doesn't have to come to charge it up. It charges up instantly in combat before you're hit, which is actually really cool. But it sounds like this gives you less %DR. Like this is inflicting the magical level up effect on yourself instead of on the enemy, which is unusual as a trade for flat DR and an inheritable skill. So that's very interesting. And then also during combat with the same special cooldown count condition, we get 20% true damage of the greater of unit's defense or res. So we're getting basically like the Brave Dimitri type effect, except it's 20% of defense. I think that's what he had too, so that's actually unbelievable. And neutralizes reduced damage by X% effects from foes' non-special skills? Okay, wait a second. So if you have a high enough cooldown special, you get true damage only on special. Okay, this has been special trigger. So true damage, 20% of defense or res, only on special trigger and special spiral effect, negating %DR on special. And then there's another effect. If foe's attack can trigger unit special, unit's next attack deals damage equal... Okay, so it's just the true damage with a clause for defensive specials to work also. And then Canto Control. We know Canto Control. I'm not going to waste any time on Canto Control, but we have the Emblem effect, which is, I think, the real seller here. And this is if foe's range equals 2 and unit or foe's special is ready or triggered before during this combat, reduces damage from foe's attack by 40%. So this is the defensive part of all these new specials, like the Armored Beacon, Flow, Blaze. But this is range 2 locked. Interesting. I'm quite curious about stacking this with Armored Beacon immediately. And just in general, having this, I think, will make Far Saviors a little bit more effective. Because I am having some trouble making one that can do anything in AR defense right now. I also think a lot of people predicted that would be what Ike's emblem did. Oh, he actually has a sword. Everyone's talking about green, but this is just Swordman Ike. Okay, so here we're getting true damage DR, and he also has DR in Great Ether, I think. So, like, even though it's limiting the amount of DR he can get from other skills, the special is not affected, if I read that right. The Nice? Ike hits him with the Nice? Okay, that's Canto Control in action. And so this is forcing all the attacks to go first. That's the first hit. And then incrementally more DR as they hit, I believe. Yeah, seems like it. And all that DR came from the special, if I'm correct. So it's pretty unpierceable. This is likely going to be the best Omni tank in the game, right? I mean, I just think having that much special DR available. Like, the first hit will be a little bit rough because you get so much less DR there. If I was doing the math correctly in my head, which I very well could have been off on, comment down below if I'm wrong. And if you're curious, if you're confused yourself, read the comments because someone there probably knows better than me and has more time to think about this. I'm doing it live. Oh, Soren. Okay, it's very fun to put it on Soren, but also he could use it kind of well because... I mean, his defense isn't great, but his resistance is huge, and he has that DR, so there are reasons to actually put it on that guy. One less threat. Every special is now Armored Beacon, which is actually great. Like, I mean, you can... I am still curious about how the double beacon will work for double beacon type special, you know? But also, this means that you can test so many things without having to waste that kind of fodder, which is really cool. Oh, Valencia's on this banner? Ooh, I should have been saving orbs. I don't have orbs. Oh no. How can they do this to me? This is unfair. I hate this. Oh, both of the new healers are on colorless. That's actually kind of nice for colorless. So it's them and Arvel. Red is Ike, Valencia, and Emblem. That's a great share. I would love to have a second copy of Ambla. That would make so many things, so many silly things possible on AR defense. What is green got? Camilla, Sather, and attuned Nino? Okay. I keep getting kind of rolled by cool Sather strats. So the unit feels kind of old and outdated at this point, which is wild, but she's like, what, barely over a year old, but like, I think the weakest part of this banner is her, but she's still a great unit. The colorless Arvel doesn't do much anymore, but those two healers both actually have some real applications. And then on blue we have Isadora, Old Man from Echoes, who certainly has a name, but could I tell you what it is? No. He's a gold knight, I can tell you that much. Hey, Editor 11 here. From the future, which is still your past, but his name is Myson. Myson is that guy's name. I swear I didn't even look it up. Don't take my Fire Emblem fan card, please. Anyway, keep watching the video. And then the latter Byleth, who has a refine way further out, so is just kind of in limit. So blue is definitely the skip color here. Colorless is probably third. Green, I would put in second because Camilla's amazing, and Nino does have that tasty fodder. Also, I just love Nino. I'm biased, and that's okay. And then obviously red is number one because Ike is... just emblems are such a boon to have. You can equip them to anybody. It's so cool and fun. Valencia, strong keys for the best unit in the entire game. Maybe that's slipping a little bit, but she's pretty good. And again, I'm biased, and I'm just going to say it. She is the best. There it is. Truth. Lock it down, and then like Ambla, a unit whose utility only grows, I think. I just find that the feud and the like her start of turn status clear, like those are such good effects on top of the reducing save strats and stuff, because this is going to make save stronger, so Ambla is actually getting a buff by this in a weird way. Those are just some thoughts on the banner overall, but yeah, I mean, anyone who has Emblem Ike is going to be doing better than anyone who doesn't. That's just the way these things work. It's unfortunate, but it is fun when you have them, at least, so. Unlike Leon, who I think just makes the game less fun, so I'm in favor of this. And again, I think a lot of people predicted this. This isn't a huge surprise, so. Yeah, let's just take one more look-see. The art is really good. Okay, let me just take a look at this again. So, what did this actually give? DC Slang, big attack bonus and Daunt, no penalties. Oh, Null C is in here. Yeah, this is the best Omnitank in the game, for sure. And Anti-Guard. Yeah, this is very, very good. And then I believe he's getting like -2 cooldown on Great Ether, and then they double attack him. He has an Anti-Guard, so it charges right up automatically. So he'll pretty much always be getting Great Ether off. And then, even if he initiates combat, they attack first, so that's like super guaranteed. Kind of Brave Ike core. And number of attacks increases his damage, but reduces damage from attacks by percentage equals 40 minus current special cooldown count times 10 during combat. So if it is at 3, which will be its max, he has slaying and it starts at 4, so that would be 40 minus 3 times 10, but if you pulse him down, it starts higher. Plus he has that, so this is unpierceable DR in the special, and he has that true DR from Lagu's friend. So this is basically, this is the new Brave Dimitri, basically. This is Brave Dimitri who fixes all the weaknesses Brave Dimitri had, doesn't need null counter disrupt in the B slot, and unpierceable. Oh my, this is double unpierceable. Yeah, this, gonna be very interesting to see the matchups of this. I'm curious what beats it and what it doesn't. This sounds like it could be a problem, but also Sanaki exists, so maybe not. I don't know. I'll be trying to cobble some orbs together and summon, because even if you miss on red, Valencia is still a big dub. And I think that's really all I have to say. Unsurprisingly, the new emblem is a good unit, and the emblem effect too is quite good. So yeah, I gotta pull my orbs together. Feel free to subscribe to the channel, come through any streams I do, super chat, whatever, so that I might have a chance at actually getting him. And I'll see you again real soon with more fake content. So, till then.